Hi, my name is Mark, and today I'd like to tell you about the game called Paupers Ladder. This is the second edition of the game that I got for review from Bedsit Games. And this is an adventure game for 1 to 4 players. It's not a cooperative game, it's a competitive game. It also has got a solo mode, and in this game you play as a pauper who starts in a tournament, and you have a chance to become the new ruler of Brighthelm, the kingdom where the action of this game takes place. You will get a magical bird to help you, and you will embark on a quest, on a journey to learn 3 virtues. And the first person that learns 3 virtues like generosity and knowledge and bravery will become the new ruler of this kingdom. So now let me show you how the game plays, and then I will tell you my opinion on this game. This is Paupers Ladder during the game. This is not the beginning of the game. I have some cards already on the map to show you how the game works and how the game plays. This is the map of Brighthelm, the land where the action takes place. The map is divided into different regions. You have mines, you have forests, you have mountains, you have swamps, and you have beaches. And of course you have cities. And each region contains a few spaces where you can explore different cards, and then you will place those cards in those regions. Each player has got 2 meeples. You have your pauper and you have your bird, and you will use them to move across the board to explore different regions. Of course, each player gets a hero board that looks like this. Here you have your character's image, you have the name. Here you have space for your bird card. At the start of the game, you have a few birds to choose from, and you choose one of the birds. And the bird cards give your bird meeple special abilities. You start the game with the card face down, and you can pay 4 gems during the game to train your bird. Then you flip this card and it gains different abilities. Here you have your purse where you can store your gems. Here is recipe book, your journal, trophy room, and unique item that you start the game with. You cannot lose or sell the starting item. The board is double-sided. This is the side of the board that you use, the player board that you use for if you play a 2-player game, and this side is used for 3 or 4-player game. When you play solo, you can use any of those sides. The game includes 4 difficulty levels, and depending on your difficulty level, you will use either this or this side. And of course, there are more characters in the game box with different colors for each player. To win the game, you have to learn 3 different virtues. First one is generosity. To learn generosity, you have to gain 30 gems or 40 depending on your player count. You have to get 30 gems and then discard them to learn generosity. A recipe book you can learn the virtue of knowledge, and it means that you have to learn 5 recipes. Recipes in the game look like this. There are a lot of different recipes. On one side of the recipe, when the recipe is unlearned, you have different ingredients that you have to gather in the game in order to learn the specific recipe. To learn a recipe, you have to gather 2 of those 3 resources. If you get the resources, you will discard them, and then you will flip this card and it will give you a permanent ability. You can learn 5 abilities in the game, and after learning 5 recipes, 5 abilities, you will gain the virtue of knowledge. Then there is the journal, and during the game you will be able to complete different quests. There are 4 cities in the game. Each city has got a different quest. You can complete the quest. You have to do what the card says, then you will gain a reward, and then you will place the quest card here. After completing 3 quests, of course, when a quest is completed, you will draw a new quest from the quest deck. After completing 3 quests, you will learn the virtue of fellowship. And then there is the trophy room, where you will place defeated monsters and hazards. And in order to gain virtue of bravery, you have to gather enemies with 30 strength or more here in the trophy room. The last virtue is a virtue of magnificence, and to get it, you have to defeat a dragon. If you defeat a dragon and place the dragon in your trophy room, you can discard it to get the virtue of magnificence. If you get 3 virtues, any 3 of those 5, first you will win the game, and this is the goal of the multiplayer game, because even though this is an adventure game, this is not a cooperative game, this is a competitive game. Of course, there is no negative player interaction. You cannot do anything to other players, you cannot fight them or defeat them. You just have to hurry, and you have to, this is like in a way a race. You have to win the game before other players do. During the game, you will be able to get, of course, additional equipment. You have a starting equipment, and you can get 5 additional, up to 5 other items. Items can be obtained by, I don't know, fighting monsters, by completing quests, by doing different events, or by visiting cities. Each city has got a small deck of cards with different items, and if you're in a city, you can buy one of those items. Of course, you need to have gems in your purse. So, how the game plays? As I said, you have 2 meeples, you have your pauper and you have your bird. Each turn you will move, or you will use those 2 meeples to move around the board and to explore. In your turn you have to choose one of those meeples. Then you can move. You don't have to, but you can. Your pauper can move to one adjacent region for free, and then you can pay 1 gem to move even further. You can repeat it multiple times, so 1 region is for free. If I want to move here, I have to pay 1, another one, and so on. After you move, you can move, and then your pauper can move to adjacent region, and you can pay to move further. And if you choose to move your bird, you can move only to adjacent region. Bird cannot fly further. In your turn, you will move both of your meeples. The order is up to you. You can choose which one you want to move first. So you can move, or you can stay in the region you are in. Let's say I will move here. After I move to a region, I can either use one of the cards, exploration cards that are already placed in that region, or if there is a free space, I can take a new card from the corresponding deck. Each region has got a thick deck of exploration cards. If I choose to take a card, I reveal the card and I read what it says. Here is an ancient tunnel. This is an event, and you may move to any region and explore it. The ancient tunnel stays in this region for the rest of the game. So I have discovered an ancient tunnel. It stays in the game. I can use it if I want. If I don't want, I don't have to. After I will use my pauper, then I will use my bird. I will move to an adjacent region, or I will stay in my region. I will explore, and then my turn ends. Then there is the turn of the next player, and so on and so on. What type of cards you can discover in different regions? You can discover ingredients that are needed to learn different recipes. On each recipe card, as I said, you have 3 ingredients that you need to collect in order to learn the recipe. You have to get 2 of them, any 2 of them. The background of each ingredient shows you in which region of the map you have a chance to find it. So shells are hidden somewhere on a beach, and the bone meal can be found somewhere in swamps, and copper ore can be found in the mountains. So if you encounter an ingredient, and this is one of the ingredients that you need for your recipes, you can take it, you will put it under the recipe card. If you get 2 cards below a recipe, you will learn it. You cannot take a recipe, you cannot take an ingredient card if you don't need it for your recipe. So you cannot take ingredient, so for example other players will not be able to. You only can take ingredients that you need for your recipes. The other type of card is, as we have seen, is event. Event has a blue background. You have to read what it says. Sometimes like this card, it will stay here forever. For example, here is a traveler card. He needs a map. If you sell him one, collect 10 gems and discard the map from your inventory, and this traveler stays in this region until he has been sold a map. So if you have a map, you can go here, you can sell the map for 10 gems, and you will discard both the map and the traveler, and this event is gone. Here, for example, we have a falcon nest with 10 gems inside, and I can go here and I can try to collect those gems from the falcon nest. So we have ingredients, we have events, and then we have hazards, which are basically monsters or traps. Each hazard card looks similar. Here we have an image, a name. Here is the strength of the hazard card you want to defeat. Here is the type of the hazard card. The type is important for some quests. Sometimes in a quest you need to defeat and put in your trophy room a hazard of a specific type. Here is the number of gems that you can collect after defeating this card. And here is a reward that you can get after defeating the card. You have to choose one of the options. You can either put the card into your trophy room, or you can get the gems, or you can get the reward. You cannot get all the options. Here, for example, for defeating this sea beast, you will gain a rare equipment. There is a small deck of rarity cards, and you have some really cool equipment items in it. The regular equipment deck is also quite thick with a lot of different items. If you want to, if you go to a region and there is a hazard card already, or you explore, you reveal a card from the corresponding deck and you reveal a hazard, you have to fight it. This is not obligatory, you have to fight it. The same as with movement. If you move to a region where a hazard is already placed, you cannot explore the region, you have to fight the hazard card. In order to fight a hazard, you have to take a card from your outcome deck. Each player gets an outcome deck that looks like this. You have different cards with different values, and some of those cards, they have some special abilities that you can trigger. So the first thing, if you want to defeat a hazard card, is flipping an outcome card. And this is your basic strength. To win a fight, you need at least strength of the hazard or more. So if I would like to defeat a sea beast, I need 7 strength or more. Right now I have 6. What else can I do? So this is my basic strength, my outcome card. Then if I'm fighting with my pauper, I can add a weapon card or an equipment card, or I can use one of my learned recipes to raise my strength or to add some special abilities. But this can only be done if you fight with your hero. If you fight with your bird, you cannot use recipes and you cannot use equipment. So if I'm fighting with my pauper, I can add one weapon or some maybe other equipment cards that can help me in combat. Then I can choose to spend 1 gem to roll the lucky charm die. There is this die in the game that is used in some tests and some event cards and also in combat. And you have sides with 0, with 1, and there is one side with 2. So I can pay 1 gem and I can roll this die once. Let's do it. And I have rolled 2. Of course I had to pay it. I will not do it right now, but normally I have to pay it. So I rolled 2. My outcome card was 6. 6 plus 2 is 8. So I have more than the sea beast strength and I have defeated this card. Now I can place it in my trophy room, or I can get money, or I can get this rare item, and the hazard card will be gone. Let's say that I don't have the required strength, then nothing basically will happen. I will leave my hero or my bird here in this region where I fought the hazard, and I will end the turn of this character. In the basic game it works like this. There is a special survival mode in the rulebook that you can use, more advanced one, and in the survival game each player has got some life points, and if you fight a hazard card and you lose the fight, you will lose health. If you are out of health, you will be placed in your city, then you have to spend gems and you have to spend a turn to recover and to gain health back. But in the basic game, going to a region and fighting a hazard and not winning is penalty enough, because basically you have wasted your turn and that's it. And as I said, the goal of the game is to gain 3 virtues. The first person that gets it will win the game. Now let's talk about the solo mode. If you play solo, you have to take this additional sheet, solo sheet. It's double-sided. Here is the easy and medium difficulty level. On the other side is hard and very hard. And the solo mode, you can say it contains the survival elements of this game, because your bird and your pauper, they have health. On easy mode you have 5 or 4 in medium difficulty, and additionally you have this timer, and this timer will go down 1 space at the start of each round. If it goes to 0 and you don't complete the objective of the game, you lose the game. If your pauper or your bird loses all the health points, you also lose the game. You can regain health in the cities, but basically you can lose the game if you lose all your health, either one of your characters, or if the timer goes to 0. You can heal in the cities and you can regain more time. If you defeat the hazard, you will move this tracker 1 space back up, so you have more time. If you complete a quest, you move it 1 space up. If you learn a recipe, you also move it 1 space up. And if you learn a virtue, you move it by 3 spaces. So you are in a way limited in time when you play solo, but if you defeat hazards and complete quests and learn recipes, you will have more time to play the game. In a solo mode, you also have an option to hide from a hazard. If you are in an area and you explore a card, a hazard card, you can try to hide from it, and you will roll this die here, and depending on the side, there is a chance that you have hide from the hazard card, so you will not lose your health points. Also, you have an option to remove some region cards, because normally in a multiplayer game, when there are more players, there is bigger chance that those cards will be cleared from the board. If you play solo, you may be in a situation that some of the regions are already full of cards, and you can lose some time to remove a region card from any region. What's the objective of the solo game? The objective depends on the chosen scenario. There are 3 scenarios in the game, similar to, for example, Mage Knight, because each scenario gives you basically different setup, different objective. Sometimes they have some special rules. There is some text that you can read if you win or if you lose. And there are different 3 scenarios: Garolium's Tournament, the Saltash Necromancer, and the Fury Siege. In the first scenario, your goal is to learn 3 virtues. Just like in the multiplayer game, you just have to be careful to not lose all the time and to not lose your health points. The Saltash Necromancer requires you to find and defeat the Necromancer, and in the Fury Siege, you have to defeat 3 dragons that surround your starting city. So you have to choose one of the scenarios, It gives you different setup, different goals, and you have to complete those goals to win the game. And this is basically how you play Paupers Ladder. Let's wrap it up. Now, when you know how to play this game, let me tell you my opinion and what are the things that I like about Paupers Ladder. First thing, I really like the art style. It looks great. It's very unique and very specific. My wife, when she saw this game, she said that the game looks ugly. For me, it's really cool. I like the artwork. It reminds me of some old school RPG fantasy games. It's nice. And I like the theme and the story of this game. It's very unique. You play as a pauper and you have a magical beard and you take part in the tournament and you can become a ruler of the Brighthelm. It's really fun and unique. I think the replayability of this game is very high. All the decks with cards for each region are very thick. There are a lot of equipment cards and quest cards, and you have 8 different characters and different quests, different items. So a lot of replayability, and in solo mode you have 3 different scenarios, so you have even more variety in this game. There are some expansions available that you can add to the game that add even more variety to Paupers Ladder. The rules are very intuitive and the game is really easy to teach. I played this game with my 9-year-old daughter and she beat me. I lost to her, so as you can see, it's not hard to learn and it's not hard to teach this game. But even though the rules are easy, you move to a region and then you explore this region. It's fun, mostly because of all the different cards and different monsters and quests and events and items and recipes. So it's a really easy game to learn. It's also a very easy game to set up. If you have shuffled all your cards when you have put the game back in the box, setting the game up is like opening the box, placing the board on the table, placing all the region decks on the table. You give each player a player board and you can start playing, so it's really cool. I like the solo mode because in the basic scenario you just play the game very similar to the multiplayer game, but you also have 2 additional scenarios where you have to fight the necromancer and then you have to fight the dragons. So you have 3 different scenarios, each one gives you different setup and different goal. Really cool. I hope that maybe in the future the creator of this game will release more solo scenarios. It will be really cool. Another pro of this game is that this game is a competitive game. It's not a cooperative game. There are so many cooperative adventure games and not that many competitive games. It's not competitive in terms that you can do something bad to other players. Okay, you can steal or you can complete a quest before other players, or you can get an ingredient or kill a monster before someone else does it, but basically it's like a race to victory. But it's cool that this is a competitive game. There are a few expansions. I remember that there is one bigger expansion and one small. They add some additional modules to this game, and the big expansion basically replaces all the region decks with new region cards, so you have even more variety and replayability. And the smaller one gives you different modules that you can add to this game. It introduces a cooperative game, it introduces a shorter variant of this game, so a lot of variety in the game. It's also cool that in the rulebook you get this survival mode, which is a more advanced, you can say, mode of this game where you use life points. If you play with kids, you can play the normal mode without any life points. And if you want more difficulty or more unpredictability, playing the survival mode is cool because you have life points, and if you encounter a hazard card and you lose, then you lose life points, then you have to go back to the city, then you have to heal in the city. So it's really cool. And what are the things that I don't like in this game? I like the cards, I like the art style of the player board, of the cards, the artwork, but the meeples are not that great in my opinion. I would prefer having standees, so each standee will show the artwork of the character that I play and the artwork of the bird that I use in the game. It would be quite cool. Another thing that I'm not maybe a huge fan of is a lot of randomness in this game. There's a lot of randomness in combat, a lot of randomness in cards, and there are some quests or some events that require a specific card from you, and if you have bad luck, you can play the whole game without discovering the specific card. In the combat, you have this outcome deck, and you will draw a card from this deck. The numbers on the outcome cards, they are from 1 to 6, so you know, it's like rolling a die basically. You can additionally roll the lucky charm die, but it's also a random die. So there's a lot of randomness, and sometimes, I know this is a light game, a fun game, and not a very complex game, and a game with randomness. I accept it, but there are some situations in this game when the randomness is really can be annoying. Sometimes I have a feeling that this game is quite long for what it is, because if you play the 2-player mode, you have to gather 40 gems, or you have to defeat monsters with a strength of 40 in total to gain the required virtues, and it then can take some time. That's why probably they introduced the shorter variant in one of the expansions. And the last thing is that the rulebook, even though it's well written and it explains the game quite well, I think it's too long, and there are some sections in the rulebook that where they repeat the same things over and over again. And I think that when I read the rulebook, I had a feeling that I'm reading the same thing for the third time. And when you look at the back of the rulebook, there is the rules summary, and it takes only 1 page, because this is a fairly easy game to play. So the game is quite light, I think 2 point something on BGG, but when I open the rulebook, there are 20 pages of rules, so it can be a little intimidating, but overall it's written really well. So what I think about this game? I think it's a really fun, light game. Normally, if you watch my videos, you know that I'm more advanced gamer. I like adventure games like, I don't know, Eldritch Horror or Truthbank Legends, maybe. Games similar in terms of gameplay. You move to a region and you explore this region, or do you do stuff in the location where you have finished your move, like for example Eldritch Horror. And normally I like the heavier and more advanced games. This one is quite light, but this one is really fun and charming, and because the rules are very easy, it's a game that you can like, for me, a little like a beer and pretzel game, if you know what I mean. Like in Ameritrash games, there is Zombicide, and Zombicide for me is always the game that when I want to play a Ameritrash game with a lot of action and, you know, fighting, and I don't have energy and I'm tired, Zombicide is a perfect game. It's easy, I have fun, I roll a lot of dice and it's fun. So for me, Paupers Ladder is like this beer and pretzel game for adventure games. If I have 1 hour, I don't have to overthink, I don't have to play a very advanced game. I can open this game and set up very quickly. I can play for 1 hour, the solo mode at least. I will have a lot of fun, and it's really cool. I like that the rules are intuitive and easy enough to play with kids. My daughter, she's 9. I played the game with her, and I lost with her. I lost to her, and even though she's not a big fan of fantasy games, and she's not a big fan of, you know, dragons and monsters and swords and sorceries and stuff like this, she enjoyed this game a lot, and we plan to play this game much more. So it's a really fun, cool game. I like this game that much that I would like to try the expansions and to try the different modules and new cards and new options, because this game is a really, really cool, light, fantasy, competitive game with interesting solo mode. If you are looking for a game like this, check it out. I think it's only available at the moment on the Bedsit Games website. They have a web store there, and you can get this game there. I think this game was on Kickstarter as well, but the Kickstarter is already like over. Maybe there will be another print of this game, but for now you can visit Bedsit Games website. I will leave link in the description of this video, and then you can check this game out. That's it. Thanks for watching this video. Click the like button if you like this video. You can visit me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You will find links in the description. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.